Good morning. This is Northern Light for Wednesday, April 26th. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe.
Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is suing New York's ethics watchdog over issues related to his pandemic-era book deal. More on that coming up.
Plus, debate on the overdue state budget continues. Governor Hochul is breaking her silence with a public update, including on whether the state will expand charter schools.
It is hard for me to turn my back on 50,000 parents who's put their names on wait lists so their kids could have a different alternative.
Also on the show, the story of Fulton Fryer, the first black singer to attend the Siegel Music Colony in the Adirondacks back in the 1950s. He died earlier this month.
And tomorrow night is the culmination of a unique Battle of the Bands competition in Montreal. The Cité d'Or features Pan-African musicians from across the city.
It inspires musicians that are with their projects that are new, that they're not known. It inspires them to just to get on their feet and get out there and get to show people their music.
All of that is coming up on Northern Light. Stick with us.
Broadcast of Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio is supported by Mountain Orthotic and Prosthetic Services, a full-service practice committed to providing care for patients of all ages with offices in Lake Placid, Plattsburgh, and Malone. Details and referrals at mountainonp.com. And by St. Lawrence Health, committed to keeping the community healthy and safe by providing vaccines for patients to strengthen their defenses. stlawrencehealthsystem.org.
This is Northern Light. I'm Monica Sandreski.
And I'm Todd Moe. Coming up tomorrow night is the culmination of a unique Battle of the Bands competition in Montreal. It's called Cité d'Or, which means the golden elephant, in a hybrid of French and Bambara, the language spoken in Mali. The elephant is a symbol of wisdom, power, and eternity in West Africa.
The competition is put on by the Nuit d'Afrique Music Festival, the largest showcase of Pan-African music in North America. It's become a hub of creativity and collaboration across the city's diverse music scene. And as David Summerstein reports, it helps catapult artists into the next phase of their careers.
Nuit d'Afrique, Montreal's massive African music festival, takes place every July. And when I was there last summer, I heard all the iconic sounds of African music, like Morocco's answer to the acoustic bass, the gimbiri, and the kora, the 21-string gourd of Mali, Senegal, and across West Africa. Musicians come from all over the world to play at Nuit d'Afrique. But in the off-season, the festival holds a sort of feeder festival to mine Montreal for local talent. It's called Cité d'Or, and it's held at the city's headquarters for Pan-African music.
I'm standing here on busy Saint Laurent, one of the main boulevards in Montreal. Lots of people coming and going, lots of restaurants and shops. And right in front of me is Club Balatu, which has been like an anchor for Pan-African music for more than 30 years here in Montreal. The Cité d'Or competition really brings together, small musicians, small bands who are wanting to grow to the next step. And the Club Balatu Cité d'Or competition helps them get to that next level.
Every Tuesday and Wednesday night from February to March, 2 local bands take the cramped stage at Club Balatu to compete in preliminary rounds of the Cité d'Or. Ramon Chicharron is from Colombia and has lived in Montreal for 15 years. He competed in the Cité d'Or in 2017 and 2018.
It inspires musicians that are on the with their projects that are new, that they're not known. It inspires them to just to get on their feet and get out there and get to show people their music.
It also brings together musicians from different genres with roots in different countries. While Chicharron and I are talking, Congolese-Canadian Kizaba comes in. They dap, they hug.
it's like a magic of the city that we know each other and we collaborate each other musically.
Kizaba's been living in Montreal for 10 years. He gets his musical inspiration when he goes home to Kinshasa, Congo.
I love traditional music. If my grandmother, she's a percussionist, she sings. My show represents my grandmother.
But when he returns to Montreal, something special happens.
Accessible à avoir plein de trucs, possibilités. You have a big possibility here for me for making my song, collaboration, the artists from Montreal. It's very important for me.
Kizaba calls his music Afrofuturism, and he's played all over the world. Things like the Cili d'Or and the Nuit d'Afrique Festival, where Kizaba played on the main stage last summer, are a springboard for musical careers. Kizaba says Canada, and Quebec in particular, invests in artists' lives through government-sponsored arts programs and events, and Nuit d'Afrique relies in part on that funding.
Big thank you in Canada. Yeah, it's very important for me. In Congo, I make music, I don't have a support for making the CD, making the branding. In Canada, Montreal, I have a big support.
The result is a city teeming with musicians consuming and mixing all kinds of genres from all parts of the world. Think Arcade Fire's indie rock, Grimes synth pop, Kaytranada's hip-hop beats, and Congolese Montrealer Pierre Quenders, who won last year's Polaris Prize, one of Canada's biggest music awards. Ramon Chicharron says another big reason for Montreal's huge and diverse music scene is simple. Rents have been low, and he's worried that's changing.
Now we are a little bit concerned with the prices going up. I think that's been the magic of the city, of being low rent, so we can perform more and spend less time doing something else to be able to afford the rent.
Joyce Nsana, who's also from the Congo, calls her music Afro Blue Hop, a mixture of jazz, hip-hop, and R&B. Her first performance in Montreal was right on this stage in Club Balatou at Cili d'Or in 2013.
Cili d'Or opened doors for me because after that I did a lot of showcases. I toured with some artists, and it keeps opening doors for me and giving me experience as a young artist.
There's a lot at stake in the Cili d'Or. The winner gets a 3-day recording session, a promotional campaign, coaching and artist management, and a professional photo shoot. The public radio show Afro Pop Worldwide also gives out an award to a Cili d'Or performer. Senior producer Banning Air says the Battle of the Bands format is unique, and Nuit d'Afrique is taking a long-term approach to developing Pan-African music in Montreal.
To take a community that is really making its own way because the artists are all removed from their original sources of influence, and to get them to the level of professionalism where they can really go out and tour the world. It takes time, but yeah, there's real progress happening there.
The next step in that progress happens Thursday night with the Cili d'Or Grand Finale concert at La Tulipe. The finalists are Lil KHPB, hip-hop and Afrobeat from Burundi, Abonance, Electro-Caribbean Grooves, and La Tribu Salsa Band. All three looking for that boost to launch the next stage in their careers. David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio, Montreal.
Keep up with NCPR throughout the day on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and at our website, ncpr.org.
You're listening to Northern Light right here on North Country Public Radio. It's 9 minutes past 8. Good morning. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Just ahead, we'll listen back to the story of Fulton Fryer, the first black singer to attend the Siegel Music Colony in the Adirondacks back in the 1950s. He died earlier this month. We'll have a remembrance coming up in just a few minutes here on Northern Light.
This is music by Paul Myers, a guitarist who lives in Colton. You can check out more of Paul's music as part of our Underscore project at ncpr.org/underscore. And you can catch Paul Myers in concert with his World on a String trio at the Edwards Opera House coming up on Saturday, May 20th, 7 p.m. It's Paul Myers and World on a String trio at the Edwards Opera House, Saturday, May 20th, 7 p.m. Tickets are available online, edwardsoperahouse.com. Northern Light is supported by Fort de la Presentation, helping to educate and recreate historical ventures of interest to the St. Lawrence region, fort1749.org, and Blue Seed Studios, Saranac Lake, promoting community involvement in the arts on the web at bluseedstudios.org.
Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is suing New York's ethics watchdog. WSKG's Vaughn Golden has more.
Cuomo's lawsuit alleges that the Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government is again pursuing ethics charges against him related to his pandemic-era book deal. Last year, a court ordered that the Joint Commission on Public Ethics, the old ethics watchdog, didn't allow Cuomo due process when it reversed approval of his book deal and ordered him to give back the proceeds from it. But the judge in that case left the door open for the new commission to pursue the charges. In his lawsuit, Cuomo says the commission has moved forward and scheduled an adjudicatory hearing for June. He argues the new commission is unconstitutional, given that it takes away powers from the governor to directly appoint and remove members from the commission. In Vestal, I'm Vaughn Golden for North Country Public Radio.
Governor Kathy Hochul broke an 11-day silence to update New Yorkers on progress on the state budget, which is now a month late. As Karen DeWitt reports, the governor says she and the legislature are gaining ground, but there's still no final agreement.
Hochul says there could be a final budget agreement as early as this week, but many issues are yet to be settled.
I'm never going to stand here and say it's completely done until we stand here and do the proverbial handshake, but it's very close.
The governor says there has been movement on making changes to the state's bail reform laws. Hochul sought to give judges more discretion to set bail when defendants are charged with serious crimes. She wants to eliminate a clause that requires them to use the least restrictive means to ensure that an accused person returns for a court date. Legislative leaders were initially not enthusiastic to make those changes, saying bail reform was being unfairly scapegoated for a rise in crime. While not confirming that bail reform is settled, the governor says she's pleased with the progress so far.
I'm satisfied with where we are today, but we still have a little bit of time to close all the deals down.
The governor confirmed that there is growing consensus on a plan to raise the state's minimum wage to $17 an hour and in the future link it to the rate of inflation. Hochul's plan to ban flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes, though, remains unresolved. But the governor says there will be an additional $1 per pack tax on cigarettes. There's been reports of an agreement to allow more charter schools to open, though far fewer than the 100 new schools that the governor had sought. Hochul says she's sympathetic to some parents who are seeking an alternative for their children.
It is hard for me to turn my back on 50,000 parents who's put their names on wait lists so their kids could have a different alternative.
Legislative leaders do not support adding more charter schools. Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie spoke about it on Monday.
The governor wants them. Most people in the legislature don't want them.
Jasmine Gripper with the pro-public schools group Alliance for Quality Education says the proposal is ill-advised at a time when existing charter schools are losing enrollment.
You have to wonder, why are charter schools even in the state budget right now? What we know for a fact is charter schools in New York City have declining enrollment, and they themselves have eliminated over 7,000 seats in New York City because they could not find enough students to fill them. So why are we even considering adding new charters to New York City at this time?
Gripper says charter school expansion is a top priority for former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg. The billionaire is financing ads to promote Hochul's budget agenda.
Is this more pay to play in Albany? I think that's really unfortunate.
The governor has said repeatedly that political donors don't have any influence on her decisions. A late addition to budget talks is an effort to crack down on illegal cannabis stores that are competing with New York's fledgling legal marijuana industry.
When you set up these businesses to fail already because of illegal competition, we have to take some dramatic steps now.
Hochul and the legislature want to give the state's Office of Cannabis Management, as well as the state's tax department, the authority to conduct searches of alleged illegal operations. They could then either impose fines and provide a path to sell cannabis legally, or have the power to shut them down altogether. Hochul also says she's not concerned about the budget being nearly a month late. She says she believes the public is more interested in having a good budget than one that's on time. In Albany, I'm Karen DeWitt.
Public boat launches on Lake Flower and Lake Placid will be closed for routine maintenance and cleaning. The State Department of Conservation is doing work on the Lake Flower boat launch through Thursday, tomorrow, the 27th, and on the Lake Placid boat launch the week of May 8th through the 12th. Boaters can access the Saranac Lake chain at the boat launch on Upper Saranac Lake in Saranac Inn and on Lower Saranac Lake at the boat launch on Route 3 southwest of the village of Saranac Lake.
The DEC announced that the fishing season opens at the beginning of next month. Starting May 1st, anglers in New York can fish for walleye, northern pike, pickerel, and tiger muskellunge. According to the DEC Commissioner Basil Sagos, pike and walleye become more active when water temperatures rise, making spring and early summer a great time to go fishing. The DEC is encouraging anglers to use the Hunt Fish NY app, which has all the details on fishing regulations and directions to state boat launch sites. You can also visit the DEC website for more information.
You're listening to Northern Light here on North Country Public Radio. I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. In just a minute, we'll remember Fulton Fryer, the first African-American singer at the Siegel Music Colony. He died earlier this month and leaves behind an Adirondack legacy. Then stick around after the show for Bird Note just ahead at 8:42. But first, Todd has a look at the weather for us.
Yeah, we've got showers in the forecast today and then partly sunny skies tomorrow, partly cloudy skies Friday, and then rain showers returning for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Highs this afternoon, upper 40s, low 50s with light winds out of the southeast. Lows in the 30s overnight tonight, and then a high tomorrow in the 50s. Could see highs in the low to mid 60s on Friday. And through the weekend with those scattered showers, highs in the 50s and 60s. And it looks like a chance of showers continuing into the month of May, early next week as well. About an 80% chance of showers on Monday. That's the extended forecast. But today, for much of our region, partly cloudy skies, occasional showers on and off, and highs upper 40s, low 50s. We have showers and 39 degrees right now in Canton. So we're going to spend the next few minutes remembering a trailblazer in the Adirondacks. Not in the literal sense, but Fulton Fryer did help open the door for people of color in the North Country. The 83-year-old died earlier this month in New Jersey from liver cancer. He's the subject of a relatively unknown story of racial inequality in the 1950s Adirondack culture. Fulton Fryer was the first black singer at the Siegel Music Festival in Scroon Lake.
A few years ago, his little rustic bedroom at the summer opera camp was moved to the Adirondack Experience in Blue Mountain Lake. Fulton Fryer grew up in North Carolina in the 1940s and 50s. He spent 2 summers at Siegel, living in a small room attached to the school's laundry building. After he left, the room wasn't used and remained a little bit of a mystery until the building was slated to be demolished. Our Todd Moe visited Siegel a few summers ago when school staff, friends, and local historians quickly organized an effort to save the room as a tribute to African American history in the Adirondacks.
For over 100 years, the Siegel Music Colony, nestled in the hills above Scroon Lake, has been a summer camp for singers and opera students from around the country.
A lot of them have disappeared from even the scrapbooks. It was so long ago.
Wow.
But both the group pictures there. There's one of you.
On a bright, late summer afternoon, a bunch of people are gathered around a porch table at Siegel, flipping through photo albums. This is Fulton Fryer's first trip back to the school in 60 years. The photos bring back memories of the summers of 1957 and 58, when Fryer stayed in a small bedroom separate from the other students that he called the closet.
When I was here, I could step out of the closet in the morning and look down. I could see both the lakes from where I come out the room that I slept in. The chipmunks all over the place, and the birch trees. There's so many of them around. And I even pulled birch bark off and wrote letters to people.
Fulton Fryer was 17 and sang in a high school quartet in North Carolina when he was invited to the Siegel Music Colony. It was the 1950s, and America was still segregated. John Siegel, the school's director at the time, accommodated their first African-American student by having a small bedroom built on the side of the laundry building.
The day I came up, there was this guy, Hubie Hendrick, I said. He was doing the finishing touches on that closet. And that closet was put there for me. Didn't have a clue what was going on. I didn't know if they didn't have enough room in the dorm. I don't know. It's just that's where they told me I was going to spend the summer. And I didn't ask questions.
Siegel Artistic Director Darren Woods leads me up a steep hill to a small, white, clapboard cabin near the school's main building. It's Fulton Fryer's closet, and there's artwork on the inside of the door. Darren, could you read what Fulton painted here on the door?
It says, "Always welcome to the closet, the home of Fulton Fry," and it's F-R and just half of a Y. But you can see penciled out the last 2 letters of his name, A-R, and this must have been painted the second summer he was here, and he might not have had time to finish it.
Today, there are many students of color at the Siegel Music Colony, but 60 years ago, it was a different world. Hosting an African-American student was exceptional and complicated. Even though there was no official segregation in upstate New York, it wasn't unusual for a person of color to be given separate lodgings. But Darren Woods says by the late 50s, that culture in the opera and theater world began to change.
It was clear by 1958, his last year here, that Mr. Siegel was like, this is ridiculous, because no one ever stayed in this room again.
Earlier this year, for insurance reasons, the dilapidated laundry building and little attached bedroom had to go. And that might have been the end of the story. But when told of the closet and its history, Jonathan Green, a friend of the school, lobbied local historians to save the building.
I went in there and was amazed and almost immediately got a sense that this was a story beyond opera, but a story of in an operatic or vocal teaching setting that where a man was coping with being apart. And he did so with real grace. And when I was told it was going to be demolished, oh my God, I felt it couldn't happen.
Green contacted Stephen Engelhardt, director of Adirondack Architectural Heritage in Keysville, who called Laura Rice, chief curator at Adirondack Experience in Blue Mountain Lake. And in a matter of months, the decision was made to move the room to Adirondack Experience. Darren Woods says preserving the building is a tribute to African-American history in the Adirondacks and the legacy of John Siegel.
I think he knew he was taking a gigantic step and wanted to make it the safest possible situation for everybody. And Fulton even talks about how it improved his life and how he used life lessons. And so I think that's the magic of Siegel, even to this day, that we all come up here thinking that we're come to learn to sing and be opera singers, but we come to find out who we are. And the dirty little secret is that you have to leave a portion of that person up here, and you always have to come back and visit it. So we come up here to figure out who we are as people.
During a media day at Siegel Music Colony earlier this fall, Fulton Fryer and his wife Barbara meet the local press. It's a busy day, and the low-key Fulton, now 76, takes it all in stride. He rejects any bitterness about sleeping apart from the other students and tells me that although his singing career was short-lived, he and his wife Barbara are proud and grateful for the 2 summers he spent in Scroon Lake.
But that was just amazing to find out that he made history, that in itself. We glad that he opened that door. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself as that sort of...
It's a trailblazer.
It never crossed my mind.
Glad for opportunity.
And here it is now that I hear those words. I would not have even thought about that had she not said that. But I did come here for a purpose. And so these other things, I didn't let them bother me.
Your room is from what?
Still available.
Still what?
Your room is still available.
Yeah. It's still available.
Adirondack Experience curator Laura Rice says the closet is a great piece of Adirondack history. The museum in Blue Mountain Lake will spend the winter and spring restoring the structure, and it's expected to be part of the permanent Adirondack Experience exhibit next summer. Todd Moe, North Country Public Radio in Scroon Lake.
This story first aired in the autumn of 2017. Fulton Fryer was 83 when he died earlier this month. He had served as an ordained church deacon in New Jersey for more than 30 years. You can still visit Fulton's building at the Adirondack Experience in Blue Mountain Lake. You're listening to Northern Light right here on North Country Public Radio. It's 8:27, and Todd and I want to remind you about a few events going on throughout the community, including SUNY Potsdam's Loco Arts Festival. It kicks off tomorrow at SUNY Potsdam. It features over 40 free events for all ages, including music, writing, dance, film, gallery exhibitions, visiting artist performances, workshops, crafts. It really is a celebration of the arts. You can find out more at potsdam.edu/loco. It goes on for several days, all the way until May 8th.
I want to preview some events coming up in May. Put these on your calendar. Musician and teacher Dave Ruck, along with Brant Lake singer Colleen Cleveland, will be presenting a series of free and Ode to the Public workshops to introduce some heritage music from Colleen's family to area musicians and interested others. Coming up Thursday, May 4th at View in Old Forge, then May 5th at the Tawney Center in Canton. May 6th at Blue Sea Studios, and also at the Folklife Center at Crandall Public Library in Glens Falls. It's called New Audiences for Old Songs. It's a project that aims to expand awareness of the rare and important collection of folk songs and traditional ballads from the Adirondacks. And we'll be talking with Dave Ruck more about that project coming up during Northern Light. But again, put that on your calendar if you're a musician and interested in folk music, for those new audiences for old songs workshops coming up next month.
And don't forget, tomorrow night is a live Howl Story Slam at the Iron Horse Grill on Main Street in Morristown. Everyone is welcome. It's 5-minute true stories with no notes and no props. You can come and listen or sign up to tell a story. The first 15 storytellers to sign up will be included in the lineup. It's free to attend with a suggested donation to support the Howl. Details are at ncpr.org/howl. The Howl is a presentation of NCPR and the Adirondack Center for Writing. That's the Howl Story Slam at the Iron Horse Grill in Morristown tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
That's it for Northern Light for this Wednesday, the 26th of April. Keep up with NCPR throughout the day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can email us, news@ncpr.org. Until tomorrow, I'm Todd Moe.
And I'm Monica Sandreski. Be well.